Guys, it's me, Desi Arnaz, professional investor, and I thought I'd go live here today because I've been working on a couple things, and I've noticed that there's some things that are going on right now in the world and in people's lives that probably could use some addressing. You know, being the head of household in my own home, I know that it's easy to get distracted with things that don't really matter and to be chasing after, uh, you know, things that don't really impact my family. But let me tell you something. After you're 40 years old or so, 40 in your 40s or 50s, and you've already been working for 20 or 25 or maybe even 30 years, it's really time to kind of focus and get things dialed in so that your family's taken care of in the event something happens to you, and if nothing happens to you, so that you and your family are taken care of for the rest of your life. And I see a lot of people fail at that. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, I received a call from a gentleman that's 67 years old, and he had a kind of a desperation in his voice, right? I could sense desperation. It's like I really need to figure out what I'm going to do because I'm 67 years old and I need to create some passive income into my life. That's where he was coming from. And at 67, I mean, you're kind of late, but it's never too late, right? I was 60 years old and I had to start all over. Some of you know my story. I got wiped out in the 2008 to 10 recession financially, lost my business, my home, my car, everything. But still, I was able to come back, right? Even though I turned 60 in 2013, I was able to make a comeback, and today I'm uh, wealthy, and I have passive income into my life. But I did that by really just buckling down, and also by removing volatility from my mindset. Right, I'm no longer a person that looks at stuff and says, "Hey, this will make me rich really quick." I've kind of learned that really, it's really not about getting rich quick, right? It's really about playing the long game, right? I like to say it this way: financial independence is a long game, guys. This is not something that you should jump into thinking, okay, I'm going to just get rich, like the call that I got. I said to that gentleman that was 67 years old, I said, what you need is you need to figure out a way to create some income into your world. Um, right now, it needs to be active income because he said he has no money. That's how he started the phone call. I have no money. And he wanted me to coach him. And, I can just, and I shared with him what I'm going to share with you guys. I've coached people more than 30 or so, probably closer to 40 people that I've coached um, for free, right? To say they've come to me and they have their stories and they say, I just really need a break. Life has been difficult with me, and if I just had a break, and so I would coach them and I would say, here's the things that you can do. Here's what I did. Here's what you can do to um, really get your life back on track and get your financial life in order, your financial house in order. And I have to tell you guys, I found that out of all of the people that I coached, none of them, and I mean none, not one, of almost 40 people went on to do anything at all. And I think it's because they were getting free coaching. I just, that's the only conclusion that I could come to, right? They're getting this free thing and they didn't place any value on it. Now, I've coached almost 1,000 people that have paid for my coaching. And those people, many of those people, a high percentage of those people are doing quite well in the mortgage note space and the information that I shared with them and coached them on. So there's a difference. And I think the difference really is that they had skin in the game. I mean, that's just my only conclusion that I could come up with. I don't know. Um, but at the end of the day, it comes down to this. You need to really be focused on what it is that you want to get accomplished. And so what I wanted to talk about here today a little bit is this. I want to talk about um, getting your financial house in order, especially those of you that are head of household. Whether you're male or female, doesn't really matter, right? So here's kind of what I do. Here's what I do, right? I have my source of active income, and just like you guys, active income meaning income that you have to trade your own time for. So like maybe it's your job, what do you make on your job or your business or your practice if you're a professional, okay? But that's your active income. And a part of that active income needs to be set aside, like it says in the richest man in Babylon, right? A part of that money needs to be set aside. The richest man in Babylon, the book George Clausen suggests that you set aside 10% of all that you earn, right? Um, so you want to keep some of that money and you need to get that invested. And I know that for some of you guys, you're going, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to save 10%? Well, maybe if you don't have the capacity to do that right now, maybe you need to look at the other side of the coin, and that is how can you increase your income? You know, I've got an investor that is investing with me right now. She's actually an accredited investor, meaning that she's already rich, and but she wants to do more investing. And so what she did is she took a part-time job, right, in addition to her full-time job, and uh, and the part-time job, everything she makes on the part-time job is invested for her future. And so, you know, that's an option for anybody. Any of you guys that are here that are listening to the sound of my voice today or watching this video, any of you guys could go out and get a second job. And then you could use all the money from that second job to build your financial future. So that's the first thing. You need to have a source of income to invest. You need to have a source of capital to invest. And for most of you guys, that's going to be the capital that you're receiving already from your job, whatever that might be. And then what you want to do next is invest that investment capital into something that creates income for you. Don't just invest that money for capital gains, right? Meaning you want to invest it in something that creates income. My favorite investment option in that category is investing in mortgage-backed promissory notes. Because when you do that, every single month, you get interest payments from people that own homes, right? They mail you a check. I call it mailbox money every month. So that's where I think that you should put some of that money, most of that money. And then, of course, over time, that money starts to make you money. And then you could take that money that your investment is now earning, and you want to protect that money. And the way that I protect my earnings, the money that my money earns, right, is I put it into insurance. I buy whole life insurance policies that create cash value in them very quickly, because with those whole life insurance policies, I can actually borrow against those and not actually interrupt the compounding inside those policies. And so my income is growing inside the policies. I can borrow against it. And then when I borrow against it, what I do with that money is I take that and I buy more income producing assets like promissory notes. Again, I buy more of those, which again, that produces more income, which I then use to protect the long haul by buying these whole life insurance policies. So that's what I do. And I know some of you guys, that sounds a little bit complex, but trust me when I tell you this, it's not that complex. And then the one thing that I did beyond that is I also have created a trust for my family. And so I'm suggesting to you guys that you want to do something to make sure that you take care of your family. Now, you can use a trust. There's different types of trust that you can use. For most people, a living trust is sufficient, because with a living trust, you can protect your family from probate. You can make sure that the things that you want to happen with the assets that you leave behind, uh, that it happens the way you want it to. You can kind of control some things from the grave. There's different types of trust. The living trust is a good trust to have, but I created both. I created a living trust and another trust called a dynasty trust in my own family. The dynasty trust, the difference between the two, the primary difference between the two is that a living trust pretty much dies shortly after you do. But a dynasty trust lives on for centuries. In my case, it's 360 years, right? So my dynasty trust will last for 360 years. And so inside that dynasty trust is where I put my cash generating assets. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. There's some things that you can do to make life better for yourself and for your family while you're alive, and for future generations. And if you're the head of household, you need to be taking care of those things, right? And if you're in your 40s or 50s, you need to get it right now. You don't have time to start all over again in most cases. So you need to get it right. And that's why I thought I'd be sharing this with you guys, because I made so many mistakes along the way. I lost so much. But I can tell you this, that over the last decade, the things that I've been doing have already stood the test of time, meaning even during COVID, for example, I was not impacted in a negative way at all. Uh, Recessions won't impact me because the sources of my passive income are real, right? It's not tied to, quote, stocks or some other volatile index. Uh, it's real. It's tied to real estate, right? And I don't own the real estate. So even if the real estate property values fall, it doesn't impact me. I invest in contracts, mortgage-backed contracts. They're called promissory notes. And so I have found that to be the safest and most reliable investment place for me and for my family. And that's what I want it to be. I'll be talking with you guys about that on future and upcoming lives and upcoming videos here, guys. But that's what we're doing. Now, I just want to say this too. You can head on over. You want to kind of know more about who I am and what I do? You can head on over to therealdesiarnaz.com. You can literally click this link and it'll open up that web page for you. But you can head on over to therealdesiarnaz.com and you can learn more about what it is that I do. And I also am a host of the Freedom and Prosperity podcast. Again, if you click this link, you'll get a chance to, you can head on over and see some of my prior podcast episodes. And you'll be notified if you subscribe there, you'll be notified every time I release a new podcast episode. And my episodes are going to basically be sharing ideas and thoughts with you guys about things that you can do to create financial independence in your own life. And remember, guys, this is not get rich quick. If you're looking for that, then I'm not your guy. But if you say, hey, I just want to know that I'm going to get rich, then you're at the right place, and I'm your guy. That's it, guys. God bless you all. I look forward to hearing from you and meeting with you. And I hope that you guys will subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my LinkedIn profile, and just kind of follow me. Follow me. All right. God bless you. I'll talk to you again in the next video.